So today, you're going to find out who Alyssa C is. So I was born in Detroit, Michigan, and I grew up in Detroit in Highland Park, Michigan. My dad, he's been a police officer, I believe, since he was 18. My dad is known for being chief of police at Highland Park for a short period of time. My mom was a correction officer for a while. Both my parents are actually from Highland Park, which is why a lot of my childhood was spent in Highland Park because of my parents. If anybody knows about Highland Park, you know people from Highland Park, like, they go hard about Highland Park. You say you're from Highland Park, everybody knows everybody. So pretty much my dad and my mom, they were great parents growing up. They instilled a lot of morals and beliefs into me. They taught me how to be very independent. A lot of people say I'm a Jamaican like my dad because he worked a lot of jobs when I was growing up. And I guess I work a lot of jobs now. And my mom has always just been a very religious and hardworking person. Man, do I have any siblings? Yeah, I do. I have a lot of siblings. So I have three brothers and four sisters. Growing up, it was pretty cool to, have a lot of siblings, and me and my sisters are really close in age. Um, my oldest two sisters, we're all like a year apart, and but the one under me is actually a year apart than my other sister. I believe she's like 6 or 7 years apart. But growing up and having a lot of siblings, oh, we stayed in a lot of trouble. You know what they say like about the cops' kids? So we were that. We were good kids, but we stayed in a lot of trouble. But my dad and my mom made sure that we always, were together. My mom and my dad weren't together. My dad actually was with my stepmom for a very long time. I think they've been together for like 30 years. So he was with her when I was a really young. So one thing I can say, growing up, we always stuck together. We did everything together. We fought together. We cried together. We traveled together. One thing my dad always made sure was that he actually kept us together. So growing up, a lot of people would say we were spoiled, per se. A lot of people say we were spoiled. I guess, they felt like we had the good life. And now that I'm older, I guess I can say that we were and we did. But my life pretty much growing up was pretty sweet. I never really had any worries. I never really went through anything tragic, I guess, per se. But my childhood was pretty good growing up. So I attended St. Benedict Catholic School in Highland Park, Michigan, first through fifth grade. Middle school, I attended YMCA Service Learning Academy in Detroit. And then high school, I went to Henry Ford Academy inside the Greenfield Village. In high school, my favorite subjects were English and history. I got so many awards for like history and politics. I was the vice president of student council during high school, and I stayed on honor roll. One thing I can say though, I was an honor roll student, but I did stay in a lot of trouble. When I started preschool, I wasn't allowed to go to preschool unless my grandma came with me. So I guess it started at a young age. My mom used to always tell me she used to have nervous breakdowns because I was just so bad. I guess they said nobody could tell me what to do, basically. And then once I got a little older, being that I had a lot of sisters and a lot of friends, girls would always just try us. Like, they always wanted to pick with us. Everybody thought we were suburban girls. Everybody thought I went to Southfield or Harrison, or, they saw we had cars and nice clothes. So we just always, it was always, people trying to pick a fight with us or pick a fight with my friends. And people would look at me and go, oh, she's not going to do nothing. So I was always fighting. Like, I was always fighting. And my older cousin, Ruben, rest his soul, he would make me fight so much as a little kid. He used to be like, oh, yeah, go beat them up. They did this. Go beat them up. And I never wanted to fight. He's like, you're a pretty girl. Girls are going to always pick on you. So if I say the trouble I stayed in, it wasn't like trouble, but I was always fighting. Me and my sisters and my friends, we fought all the time, especially being a cop's kid and kind of growing up in Highland Park where my dad was the chief of police. People tried to nitpick with us all the time. So we just, I guess, had a point to prove, I guess, per se. But I never was like involved in any like trouble with the law or, I wasn't like a bad kid. I just stayed fighting all the time. When I was in elementary school, I played softball. I played softball. I played basketball. Then when I got to middle school, I kind of got girly and I became a cheerleader. Oh man, my first job, my cousin had a candy store on Joy Road, and I believe it was Foss. So that was like my first job. I worked at a candy store on the weekends. It was pretty cool. All my friends used to come up there. It was a penny candy store, so it was like the spot to go to in the neighborhood. I worked at McDonald's. If you personally know me, you do. My whole family worked at the McDonald's on 6 Mile in Livernois. So I worked there pretty much in high school. After that, I got into retail and I used to work at Fairlane. I worked at a store called Max Rave, where I worked there for a while. Then I was offered a management position. So a lot of in my 20s, I did retail management. I worked at Guess, I worked at BCBG, I worked at PacSun, all management positions. And then as well as I always promoted and hosted and threw parties. So that was another, I guess, job that I had as well. Right now, I'm bartending, and I have a staffing company. So I staff a lot of restaurants, bars, and clubs in Detroit. And as of right now, I just been pretty much bartending. I mean, technically, I'm not my own boss, but as far as staffing, I do, but there are, certain situations and, dealing with people and being a person that's leading, I won't say a boss, because I don't like to say I'm anybody's boss, but being a person that's in charge it comes with pros and cons. So I like the fact that I'm able to help other people make money and put them in positions to make money. But the downfall of it is you have a lot of people that feel like you're on their level or you're the same as them or you do the same as them. So they don't really respect the fact that you're a person that's in charge or you're running the show. So I deal with a lot of that with a lot of the girls that work for my company. They feel like I have to explain everything. I have to tell them everything that's going on or especially with throwing big events like the Black Party, White Party, when you're giving out sections or, they kind of feel entitled to certain things. They don't take me serious per se. Not all, but some of them, they just don't really have respect for me. So I feel as though that's been a problem that I've been having lately as far as running my own company and being my own boss. And just making sure people get paid and making sure everything goes right is very stressful. I became a promoter when I was 14. Um, the high school that I attended was a college prep school, and basically they were discussing with us that you needed to do volunteer work and you needed to have things that you put on your resume that makes your resume look good. So I was like, well, it was this boy that needed a liver transplant. And I was like, well, maybe I could throw a party and raise some money for him to have the liver transplant. So me and my cousin, my cousin Delana, she actually was throwing parties as well. And I told her what I wanted to do. We linked up, we threw a skating party. That was the first party I threw. We threw a skating party. And the skating party did so good. I think we had Dr. Darius as the DJ. So after that, he was telling my mom, like, oh my God, your daughter brought all these people out. Her and her friends, they need to do this on a regular. So my ninth grade year, I got together with my friends and I was like, let's put a group together and let's start throwing parties. So we put a group together. It was called the Lady Bosses. I'm sure if you're from Detroit, you heard of the Lady Bosses. We used to throw weekly high school parties. And all of our parties used to like hit capacity every time. And it was an era where, high school parties was kind of like popping. There were a lot of other groups. You had the Doughboys, you had the Dough Girls. You had a lot of groups that came together and kind of started doing the same thing. We were doing, at the time, two of the biggest promoters that threw high school parties was Kool-Aid and AY, and then it was us. So I kind of started promoting from that. And then by the time I turned 17, DJ Lish reached out to me. He's like, I see you're doing all these big parties. Have you thought about doing college parties? But at the time, I'm still in high school. So I'm like, yeah, My birthday's in December, so I had a late birthday. So my mom was like, well, once you turn 18, you can do it. So I turned 18 my senior year. And I started throwing college parties with DJ Lish. DJ Lish was a big part of me actually becoming a big promoter in Detroit. He taught me a lot of things, like basic things, like how to put a flyer together, how to do a guest list, how to promote, how to get people to come to your events. So I give him a lot of credit for, a lot of I guess my journey per se as far as the promoter. He taught me a lot. I learned a lot from him. So that's pretty much, how I became a promoter and went from throwing high school parties to college parties to 21 and up parties, which I did for a while up until probably right before the pandemic. Some pros and cons of being a popular socialite, you get how can I say it? You get involved in a lot of things you don't even want to be involved in, if that makes sense. So being popular, you have to watch what you do, you have to watch what you say, you have to watch who you're seen with. So that's a lot of the cons. And then it's like you get mixed up in stuff. People think because you're popular, you know what's going on. Or I get people always like trying to say I told them stuff, or like say you're my friend and I work at a bar, your boyfriend's in there or something with a girl, they'll lie and be like, yeah, Alyssa said, I don't even know what the hell are they talking about. Like I said, what?